Welcome back. Well, let's find out how the papers are reporting some of the big stories. And we're glad to announce to you that the chairman, Guild of Public Affairs Analysts, Enugu State Chapter, is still in Lagos. And he joins us right here in our Lagos studio. Dr. Ambrose Ibuke, welcome to the Lagos studio.
It's good to be here once again.
Yeah. So how's Lagos treating you so far?
I'm not used to the stress anymore.
Interesting. Don't worry. It's going to get better.
25 years, so I'm not used to it.
Maybe we'll do you some amala.com before you return to Enugu.
No, I've gone to Amala Yahoo somewhere in Ojota.
Oh, interesting. Then there's no stress now. Well, let's exit the Amala conversation during breakfast and begin with, I'm spoiled for choice this morning, but let's see. New Telegraph. There's an interesting story there. A different interpretation, or an interesting interpretation from a senior advocate of Nigeria over the Supreme Court judgment that, well, if you like, did not give any resolution to the opposition party matter. Opposition now specifically PDP. Listen to this Supreme Court verdict. PDP can't present candidates for 2027 elections. That's ascribed to Professor Issei Sagi. Says judgment puts aspirants' ambitions in jeopardy. Party that can't contest election dead. Alleges Apex Court created disorder in political system. Dr. Buke.
Well, I don't know why I'm not surprised. I mean, this had been the intention of those who were hell-bent on making sure that PDP is dead. I mean, just a few years ago, PDP was one of the biggest party. I remember the late Vincent Obola, for the former national secretary of PDP, boasting that the PDP will rule this country for 60 years, and they were the biggest party in Africa. So those megalomaniac statements and the arrogance of power, led PDP to where it is today. And this issue of party funding is a big problem in Nigeria. Because over the years, from the Fourth Republic, I found out that the people who run political parties are mostly not even the executive or national working committee. They are the people, the financiers of the party. And this has, the financiers have been emboldened and said they see it now as investments, as business investment. And when it doesn't go their way, even if it is against the party, they'll exert influence. And in this present time, we are looking at people who are exerting so much influence, who have the power to remove national chairmen of parties, by some whiff. They just remove them and say, oh, okay, we don't want this guy, replace him with this guy. And that is what has been happening. For the PDP, it is so sad that a formidable party, just like the runoff for the 2023 election, they were still strong, they were still doing one or two things, until they decided to play with the issue of zoning. Between this north and south thing in their presidency. They were the ones that introduced it in the first place. That's okay, let South do. And then when it comes to 2022, they said no, and that it will be thrown open. That was the beginning of their failure. So the Southeast, for example, felt disenfranchised and felt unhappy that they have given PDP all it takes from 1999, and when it came to time to see the possibility of presenting a Southeastern candidate, you say you are throwing it open. And for them to even give the ticket to a Northerner, after a Northerner just completed 8 years, shows that the party was hell-bent on some mischief. And we saw that play out after some time, factionalization, when the governor started leaving. Instead of trying to reconcile, they were hell-bent on pushing it to the precipice. So you now found out that there was an intentionality behind it to ensure that PDP is fragmented, PDP is, is dead, is killed. And they have succeeded in doing that. So all these things you see, all these gimmicks, faction, no faction, we did our convention, didn't do your convention, are all tactics to ensure that this is prolonged beyond the time the INEC allows for fielding candidates. And at the end of the day, they will not have. Look at the Anambra election. PDP was practically begging for candidates to pick nomination form. And the party was treated like a leopard. So that's the condition they have found themselves. And I think it's very deliberate.
But INEC is dealing with the Wike-led PDP, that their officials are the ones recognized on the INEC's portal, and they have presented a presidential candidate.
It is the same the Wike faction that ensured that APC candidates emerged in Rivers State. So it is It is the hand of Esau somewhere, and so I think the game plan, the grand game plan, is to ensure that they don't present a candidate, and that is what is it's already working out. It's worked out in Rivers, it's worked out in so many states. A lot of the governors have crossed over. So the PDP, that is it. It's not just it's a carcass. So it depends on the vultures who are trying to wrestle for the carcass.
Right, let's take a look at the Vanguard newspaper. That leads with a story we started with as well. Terrorists kill vice principal and two others in Kogi. Edo shuts schools. That's Vanguard newspaper's big story. 3 students abducted, that's according to the community. Police intensifies manhunt for fleeing terrorists. Attackers came in army uniform. That's credited to the state government. Pandemonium in Mina as parents withdraw children from schools over fears of terrorists' invasion. And southern middle belt leaders call for security emergency. And of course you have that story, I don't know how you describe it, maybe a silver lining. Reps to vote on state police at plenary. And Mr. Ibuke, we're seeing consistent attack on schools, and this is almost like 2014 all over again, even though we're in 2026.
There must be something that emboldens these terrorists to do what they do in broad daylight and such a massive scale. And that thing that emboldens them seems that they seem to be aware that maybe the Nigerian federal government doesn't want to tackle them, because if there is a fear of consequence, you won't go and do the wrong things, even for law-abiding citizens. So one begins to wonder what happens to our surveillance equipment. I've argued before that where the ingress and ingress of those people, where they're coming in from, and where they're going out, when they are going out, it should be within our satellite mapping, should be within our surveillance radar. Why are we not, pinpointing where they're moving? When you move people like that in mass scale, I mean, it's a lot of effort to move that number of people. Yet, it is very disconcerting that these people just move around, do what they do. But my biggest shock is that we are not outraged as a people. The country is not shut down. I can number of students. Look at Ibadan. What happened in Ibadan just recently? Look at what happened in Kwara. What happened in Niger? What is happening now is that we are not even outraged, because in some countries, when this kind of thing happens, civil societies will come out, the citizens will come out, they will ground the country to a halt in protest, which is a legitimate tool in democracy, and picketing to ensure that the government does something. But now nothing has happened. Nowhere has been picketed. There's no outrage. Only a few people did demonstration. NUT came out. We felt that it was an NUT affair. So if we continue this way, the politicians will continue to give us a template of press conferences in the name of, we are deeply sorry for what has happened. We will mobilize resources. The president has given directive. They will flush them out. We are sending troops. Those are cliches we have heard, statements that are like, it's already a template, you just fill it in, depending on the location where the things happen. Because there's no outrage, and these things have continued, and they will continue. If 200 and something students, over 200 students can be abducted in broad daylight, in fact, some people have said that, some people who enter night bus, who have interviewed sometimes 2 weeks ago, they argue that it's even safer to travel at night. I said, why? They said because they find out that the issues of report of kidnapping at night, it's not as much as what happens in the day. But as funny as the thing looks, when you look at it, you start thinking, look, most of the kidnappings were in the broad daylight. And what emboldens these people is because there are no repercussions, there are no consequences, there are no counter-attacks in this
case, speaking specifically now, so present the full picture. There was a response from the troops. In fact, from the community, they are thankful to the troops for responding because they think it would have been worse off. Sadly, 3 people died. Right. We understand that one of the terrorists was neutralized and one of the security agents was injured in the shootout. So it's almost like, as we said earlier on, a win on the one hand, but a bigger loss on the other.
While I commend the security agencies for, in this case, I always repeat that we should not wait to be reactionary. There are what you call preventive measures. We are not going to wait till people attack. We know, see, in the conflict mappings and architecture, you already know the areas. These people are, put in a forest. The agencies should know where they are. Why not prevent them from even moving? Prevent them from having this, attacks. Disempower them, disable them, incapacitate them from even acting. That is what we are talking about. It's not every time this will happen and you say, oh, our troops are pursuing them to the forest, or we counter-attack. What happens to preventive strikes? What happened to even not allowing these people work at all? At this stage, that's what we're doing, because our security agency cannot police all our schools, they cannot police all our public spaces and all those things. So the best thing is to ensure that those people don't even have the capacity to move out from where they are to attack.
So let's go to this Nigeria. Senate orders Kyari's arrest over 210 trillion naira missing funds. They quoted that because that's the controversy. Shomole, ex-NNPCL finance chief clash during probe. Well, when we started the comment, I said, is this a question of understanding of corporate finance or a question of trust, or what is this?
Well, I remember Fela singing in the song titled Army Arrangements. When he said the money was missing, they set up inquiry, they said the money no loss, they dabaru everybody, they close the inquiry. That song was sung around 1978. 78 to now is 48 years. We are still in the same issue, the same agency. Now, what has happened is that it is corporate recklessness. Look, our NNPC has, let's call it age mates or contemporaries, or let me use the word colleagues. Petrobras in Brazil is a national oil company of the Brazilian. Gazprom in Russia is a national oil company, just like our own NNPC. Our Saudi Aramco is a national oil company. Now, when you, I forgot the name of the one of Venezuela. It's doing very well too. Now, when you compare the way these companies are run, they are state companies. They produce the best. Go to Saudi Aramco, they use the highest technology to do what you call precision and instrumentation engineering. From exploitation, from extracting the crude oil, till the last mile where the petrol attendant sells it into your fuel tank.
They can track it.
They can track it. All their pipelines are intelligence, sensor driven. These technologies exist. We can do it in our own place, but we have refused to do it. I've spoken to some 1 or 2 persons highly placed in the oil and gas sector and say there was even a time presentations were made to NNPC for this thing. These things didn't work. So then, secondly, a policy that allows a parastatal of government to take in our resources, spend whatever they want to spend, and remit the balance. Let me use the street language, remit change, back to the government coffers, is as absurd as it can be. So it's just like saying you bring money, and then let's say, for example, National Revenue Service, you bring in the money, spend whatever you want, and then remit. I think it's only the NNPC that was giving that kind of leverage. Why was that? Over the years. So NNPC just declares whatever they want to declare into the Federation account. And we have told that so many years they didn't even declare so many things. And then they are maintaining bogus refineries that don't work, doing turnaround maintenances over the years, paying salaries to people who are dysfunctional or not even functional at all. So why wouldn't there be malfeasance of this kind of magnitude in NNPC? Because the federal government created that as an octopus of corruption to be able to. So all this talk about Melekere, of course, they always want a fall guy, in all this. This is not the first time we're talking. Over the years, we have been on this discussion. They will make noise like this, some things will happen, and then it will fizzle out again, and we begin all over again. So it's a cesspool of corruption, and unfortunately, it's our culture.
Well, there's a sad one. We can only be optimistic that when next we have to talk about this, there'll be progress. Your laughter says it all. All three of you.
Wait,
Dr.
did you say something funny? Why are they chuckling? The chuckle is telling.
Why are you chuckling, Kyari?
Because they started chuckling. So
because I know most of the time nothing will come out of it. So.
Well,
and unfortunately, it's not a Christian arena where we have hope and faith.
The Guardian newspaper talks about state police. It covers what the Deputy Speaker has been speaking of in the last 24 hours, but it will take us to our next conversation. We must anchor at this point, and thank you very much. Dr. Ambrose Ibuke is a chairman, Guild of Public Affairs Analyst, Enugu State Chapter. Thank you for coming on the Morning Brief. Thank you very much for having me again in the space of 1 week, but I'm going back.
We have more Amala for you.
We'll take a break and we'll be back. Stay with us.
That's legitimate bribe.